For months now, one question has continued to dominate discussions surrounding the Lynette Hooker case. Where was her husband during the most critical hours surrounding her disappearance? Investigators have spent countless hours trying to reconstruct a timeline. Family members have searched for answers. Reporters have analyzed every development. And followers of the case have closely examined every new piece of information that has surfaced. Now, a reported new witness account is drawing significant attention because it could potentially challenge one of the most discussed elements of the investigation. A 9-hour alibi that has been at the center of public debate for months. According to emerging reports and discussions surrounding the case, a witness who allegedly came forward with information connected to a late-night timeframe may have provided investigators with details that could force a closer examination of events that many believed had already been established. If the information proves accurate and can be independently verified, it could become one of the most significant developments in the case so far. But before we get into what this reported witness may have observed, it's important to understand why investigators place so much importance on timelines and alibis. When most people hear the word alibi, they think of someone simply claiming they were somewhere else when an incident occurred. In reality, investigators look at alibis very differently. An alibi isn't just a statement, it's a timeline. And every part of that timeline must be supported by evidence. Detectives typically compare statements against phone records, surveillance footage, financial transactions, digital activity, witness testimony, vehicle data, and any other information that can help determine whether a person's account matches reality. The reason is simple. People forget things. They confuse dates, they mix up times, and sometimes they genuinely remember events differently than they actually happened. That's why modern investigations increasingly rely on objective evidence rather than memory alone. If investigators believe something important occurred during a particular window of time, they will often focus intensely on verifying every minute of that period. And that's exactly why this newly discussed witness account is attracting so much attention. From what has been reported, the significance of the witness statement is not necessarily what was seen. It's when it was allegedly seen. Timing can completely alter how investigators interpret events. Imagine believing that someone remained in one location for several hours. Then imagine a credible witness comes forward and places that same person somewhere else during that exact period. Immediately, questions begin to emerge. Was the timeline accurate? Was there a misunderstanding? Can the witness account be verified? Does digital evidence support the statement? Are there additional witnesses? These are the types of questions investigators are likely asking right now. It's important to remember that a witness statement by itself does not establish guilt. It doesn't prove a crime occurred, and it doesn't automatically invalidate an alibi. What it does is create a new lead. And in major investigations, new leads often trigger extensive reviews of existing evidence. One of the biggest misconceptions about criminal investigations is that major breakthroughs always come from dramatic discoveries. The truth is often far less dramatic. Sometimes the case changes because someone remembers a vehicle parked in an unusual location. Sometimes it's a neighbor who recalls hearing something at an unusual hour. Sometimes it's a store receipt, a surveillance camera, a text message, or a digital timestamp that initially appeared insignificant. Many famous investigations have been transformed by details that seemed completely ordinary at first. What matters is how those details fit into the larger picture. Investigators don't look at evidence in isolation. They look at patterns, they look at consistency, and they look for facts that either support or contradict existing theories. That's why even a single witness account can become extremely important if it aligns with other evidence. The alleged 9-hour alibi has become one of the most closely scrutinized aspects of this case. And that's understandable. Whenever investigators focus on a specific block of time, it's usually because they believe something significant may have occurred during that period. The challenge is that long stretches of time are notoriously difficult to verify. People move around. Phones can be left in different locations. Witnesses may only see fragments of an evening. Surveillance cameras may capture some locations but miss others. As a result, detectives often construct timelines using dozens or even hundreds of separate pieces of information. Every phone call matters. Every text message matters. Every recorded movement matters. Every witness observation matters. The goal is to create the most accurate reconstruction possible. If a new witness claims to have information that conflicts with an established timeline, investigators typically don't rush to conclusions. Instead, they begin the process of verification. They want to know exactly where the witness was located, how far away they were, what lighting conditions existed, whether anyone else was present, whether there are photographs, messages, receipts, or digital records supporting the account. Then they compare those details against everything else they already know. Reliable witness accounts often remain consistent when challenged. Unreliable accounts frequently begin to show contradictions. This process can take considerable time, and that's one reason why major investigations sometimes appear slow from the outside. Behind the scenes, detectives are often reviewing enormous amounts of information before making any determination. The rise of modern technology has also dramatically changed how investigations are conducted. Today, investigators often have access to an extraordinary amount of digital information. Cell phone records can provide valuable clues about movement and communication. Vehicle systems can sometimes record operational data. Security cameras can capture activity from multiple angles. Smart home devices can create digital records. Fitness trackers can document movement. Internet activity can establish timelines. Financial transactions can place individuals at specific locations. Together, these sources can help investigators reconstruct events with remarkable precision. In many cases, digital evidence has become one of the most powerful tools available to law enforcement. Sometimes it confirms witness statements. Sometimes it disproves them. And sometimes it reveals the information that nobody previously considered. If investigators are evaluating the newly reported witness account, it is likely that digital evidence will play an important role in determining its reliability. One reason this development has attracted so much attention is because people naturally want answers. The disappearance of Lynette Hooker has generated enormous interest, and every new development raises hopes that investigators may be getting closer to understanding exactly what happened. At the same time, history has shown that not every lead ultimately proves significant. Some witness statements become key pieces of evidence. Others turn out to be misunderstandings. Some initially appear important before being ruled out. Others seem minor before eventually becoming critical breakthroughs. That's why experienced investigators approach every lead with caution. Their goal is not to confirm a theory. Their goal is to determine the truth. That means following evidence wherever it leads, even when the answers are unexpected, even when the answers challenge assumptions, and even when the answers require revisiting conclusions that once appeared solid. Perhaps the most important thing to remember is that major cases are rarely solved by one piece of evidence alone. Instead, investigators typically rely on the combined weight of many different facts: witness statements, physical evidence, digital records, forensic findings, behavioral patterns, communication records, financial information, location data. Each piece contributes to a larger picture. When multiple sources point toward the same conclusion, confidence in that conclusion increases. When evidence conflicts, investigators must determine why. That appears to be where this reported witness development fits into the broader investigation. Whether the account ultimately proves significant remains to be seen. What is clear is that investigators will likely examine every available source of information before reaching any conclusions. As of now, many questions remain unanswered. What exactly did the witness observe? How precise was the observation? Can the information be independently verified? Does it align with digital evidence? Does it conflict with previously established timelines? And perhaps most importantly, will investigators determine that the information meaningfully changes their understanding of events? For now, those answers remain unknown. But one thing is certain. Whenever a potentially credible witness emerges in a high-profile investigation, attention inevitably follows. Because history has shown that sometimes a single verified detail can reinforce an alibi. Sometimes a single verified detail can weaken an alibi. And occasionally, a single verified detail can change the direction of an entire investigation. As detectives continue examining every lead and every piece of evidence, those following the case will be watching closely to see whether this reported midnight witness becomes a pivotal figure in the investigation or simply another piece of a much larger puzzle. The search for answers continues. The questions remain, and until investigators determine exactly what happened, every new development will continue to draw intense scrutiny. As always, we'll continue monitoring the case and provide updates as more information becomes available.